So a friend and I were having a conversation earlier that I feel like I just had some amazing insights and I wanted to get them out here. Yeah, we were talking about how manifestation essentially, because we were talking about how talking out loud, even if it's to yourself, helps you process things and helps you feel better. And I know I had this realization actually a while ago that even like oral, whatever the word is for it, orating, journaling, speaking out loud to journal is so incredibly helpful. And I realized that from doing it. Like when I have stuff on my mind, if I talk it out loud, I'm actually getting that energy outside of my body where I ruminate on it and it feels like anxiety. And I'm putting that energy external to myself in a really safe and healthy way. And I can actually just talk it out. And I always have these insights and light bulb moments and recognition and awarenesses that are similar to when I'm talking to a person, a therapist, a friend, that just speaking out loud gives me the same kind of flow of consciousness where I feel connected to understanding and I feel connected to a greater meaning and a bigger picture. And I said something earlier, I wish I could remember the exact words, but I feel like getting the insights, like getting that energy out of your body makes it so that you can see it in a new way. And that helps you process things in a way you couldn't have before because it's more of a vivid picture and you start to see other parts of it that you wouldn't see before. It's like painting the path as you say it. Oh, right. That was the thing we were saying. That was one of the things we were saying is that, you have these insights when you express whatever is inside externally. And it's in those insights that like really you only just have to take that next step because it's always something really clear. Like, hey, it's so obvious if this thing would work better for me. I would feel better. This would be easier. Like an example was that there's no way that I'm going to go exercise. I just don't want to. I don't feel like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to. I'm not gonna. And so I don't, right? But I do know that it's good for you and in more ways than just physically as well, that it's good for serotonin. It's good, makes you feel better. But my ADHD, poorly executive functioning self cannot motivate myself to just commit to exercising, certainly not inside somewhere. And I don't love walking around a neighborhood or anything because I feel like it's boring. It doesn't do it for me. Though I do like hiking or nature trail hiking where you're just kind of walking through the woods, but it's not hiking up a steep mountain. But the likelihood of me, like, I have to get in a car and I have to pick somewhere and then I have to get in a car and then I have to drive there and park and make sure I have all the things I need, like water and whatever, and sunglasses, I don't know. And then I need to go get out and walk and then for as long as I want, but then I have to come back. So I can't go further than I know I'm going to have to come back. And it just feels like this whole big production. It feels like so much effort. And like last time I think I saw this friend, who we started a little 2-person book club. I suggested to her that she try out audiobooks, but speeding them up, which for anybody who cannot get into audiobooks and just feels like your brain checks out and you cannot stay engaged in it. Like, you just can't get into it that way. Speed the book up. Oh my God, it is life-changing, especially if you're neurodivergent. I'm convinced that this is also a neurodivergent issue. At least any ADHD people I talk to about this, it makes sense because we think fast and we talk fast. And when we put audiobooks on normal speed, it's literally like a sloth is talking to us, and it's horrible and tedious and exhausting. And my brain has checked out and thought of 30 other tangents before we finish chapter 1. So it's just not feasible. It's not going to happen. We're not on this train. It's not going to work. But what works so well, I have learned, is one, obviously you have to be into the book. Like, it has to be a good book, but speed it up. I speed it up to usually like 1.4 or 1.5. Depends on the narrator and how fast they talk and what sounds still normalish to me and not chipmunky in their voice. But then I can hear them. I can hear what they're saying without my brain checking out and getting bored because they're talking too fucking slow. So everyone I recommend this to is usually mind blown by it and like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, that same friend who thought she couldn't do audiobooks and I suggested this is now flying through them. So, hot tip, definitely something worth doing. It's amazing. But yeah, anyway, my point, what was my point? Let's see. Audiobooks, speeding them up. Oh, got it. Okay. So she has started listening to them when she goes for walks. She's been committed to going for walks every day. She's trying to like exercise more. And also when she's in her car driving or doing chores, which I also suggested, because for me, it's like the only way I don't mind doing chores is if I put chores, cleaning, basically. You know, I'm a mom. Every chore is mine. But like cleaning and getting shit done that doesn't require me to think about it, it just needs to be done, and I know what to do without any mental power of like processing or thinking it through. If I put on an audiobook, I don't mind doing it. And I actually almost am into it because I can't listen to the audiobook and do nothing. Like, I can't sit there doing nothing and have a book on and be able to pay attention to it because I am ADD, so I need to be moving my body. Like, I can't sit on a couch and listen to a book and just sit there. That's horrifying. It's not going to happen. But I absolutely can listen to a book and do the dishes, or listen to a book and like spray and wipe down the table and counters, or listen to a book and fold the laundry. Whatever it is, like, I can't listen to the book if I'm not doing something, but I have to be doing something that I don't have to think about. So it is the perfect way to get me to do the shit I don't really want to do, but that doesn't require any cognitive processing power, like cleaning. I also can do it when I'm working, which I do a lot, so I get through books really quickly. Because sometimes if I'm in my studio for 7-8 hours, I've listened to an entire book or half a book. Some of my books are like 20 to 30 hours, but still, I could finish a book in 3-4 days sometimes. But it depends on the task. If it's something that I've done a million times and I know exactly what to do and I don't have to think about what to do, totally can listen. If I have to like write an email, absolutely not. Of course not. Like, that's way too much processing power needed for that task. Anyhow, this was quite the tangent. Audiobooks, speed them up, try it out. Tell me if you do, because I fucking love it and it's amazing, and I fly through books. I think I couldn't even tell you how many books I've read. I've read too. Like, I physically read books or on my Kindle or my phone, let's be honest, because I have it with me. I have a Kindle. I just don't typically use it because it requires me to have another thing on me, and I don't want to carry another thing. Anyway, yeah, so I probably read like fuck, I don't know. Shit. 70, 80 books last year, maybe more. I don't know. I should go count and let me know if you want me to count and come back with this number. I could try. I probably won't be an accurate count, but I could, attempt it because it would be interesting. I was flying through them. I got sick in February for like the entire month and just got back into reading for some reason. And in that month and never went back, which is great. I've got back into fiction reading. Anyhow, yet another tangent. I'm trying to go back to my point, which was that I should try listening to audiobooks while going for walks or on like nature hikes. Maybe it will get me to want to do it more. I can't guarantee this is the case, but it was just like hey, we're talking about this thing, and we talked about these audiobooks. She did this audiobook. She told me how she's doing it during walking, and now I have a different piece of a picture than I had before because all of this has been externalized. I can see things I couldn't see before and consider for myself how that might be helpful in my life. And I realized like that is how you manifest things, is like you have to process them outside of your head. You have to externally get that energy out of your body because it is energy. We are all just energy. We're all made of energy. And then step into the insight that you see, whatever it is, and that moves that thing forward, right? Like we talked about doing book club and time to read because I get through books fast and I explained what worked for me and why. And then my friend did the same and was exclaiming about it and then told me like when she's doing it, which was helpful to me to manifest the thing where I want to feel healthier and like more energy. And I love nature. I like walking out and being in nature. My brain needs not the like, oh, I need to do like this thing would make me feel better. It needs the payoff. Like I need to really connect with the payoff of doing that thing. Like, oh my God, it would be so nice to like, I could listen to my book, which I want to listen to anyway. And I could be in nature and get vitamin D and like be in all that good energy. And that will help me manifest more things, right? Because if I step into that next thing that I'm inspired by, that I think would support me, like in that next space is when you can have the next inspiration. And I think that is how you manifest your goals and your dreams, is when you feel inspired to do something and you do that thing and you only worry about doing that thing and not all the other thousands of things. When you're then doing that thing and it feels good and it feels like, oh yeah, like I like this. This is working for me. It's then within that space that you end up feeling inspired or something makes you think of something in a new way, that you have a new insight of something in your life. And then if you feel drawn to and inspired and called to do it, you start doing that thing. Then in that space, when you're doing that and it does feel good and it does feel easy and right, like that's the space where you can have another insight. And I realized like that is how you manifest. Everything I've created in my life was moving towards taking the next step that I feel inspired to take, taking the next step that feels like, oh my God, that makes so much sense and would be so much easier. And then in all of this conversation, you know, we talked about how I got this like little AI recording pocket thing because I wanted to be able to record my conversations or or journal out loud or my insights because I would love to write a book one day. But I don't want to write a book. Like, I don't want to physically sit down and have to type and think it out as I write it because I think a lot faster than I type. And because it requires me to organize it like from the get-go. Whereas authentic insight for me comes in the moment, and it comes in conversation, and it comes in speaking, and it comes in flow. But I can't have that when it feels like a performance, when it feels like I'm trying to create for something other than expression, other than just like processing it and understanding. And because we also talked about how I've tried making videos for social media and stuff and talking into the camera and doing like sharing insights. And it feels so performative and awkward. And, you know, I'm overthinking it and I'm stopping the camera 300 times and re-recording or like it just feels so inauthentic. Even if I just minutes prior had an incredible insight and that's the reason I want to make the video and that's what I want to share, I can't do that authentically outside of the moment I'm having the insight. So it just really wasn't working for me. And I have joked before about how I wish I could just have someone follow me around with a camera and like record my conversations and then have someone or that person like just chop it up into like the bits where I'm talking in flow about the shit that like the insights I have and the things that I think make life better and that can impact your ability to move your life forward in the way you want to. And I'm really good, I think, at breaking those kinds of things down for people. Like people always tell me that. Constantly people tell me I should do public speaking or write a book or whatever. And I honestly, like, if they find it that valuable, and I know, like, I find it impactful for myself too, I would love to do that. But I don't have the executive functioning to want to go just like that path right now because it feels so overwhelming. So like, there's too much that it would take to get there, and what only ever really seems to work well for me is when it feels natural and it feels easy and it feels like obvious. And in this conversation, she was like, well, maybe you should do a podcast. And like, I was like, oh my God, I've thought about it, but like, I don't want to sit there and talk for an hour and I have to schedule it and I have to do it weekly or something or whatever it is. Like the organizational part feels like a bit of a nightmare to me. And then we talked about it a bit and we're like, well, you know what? I could just do what I'm already doing when I have an insight, like journal it or orally. I still don't know what, there was a word I was trying to get and I cannot remember what it is. Or oratory, orative, whatever it is, speaking it out loud, journaling basically. And kind of just look at it like that, where I'm processing on my own and it's easy and I get in that flow because I'm just talking out those things and seeing them differently because I'm putting that energy outside of my body. And it feels more like something laid out in front of me that I can understand differently instead of jumbled in my head where my feelings are more attached to those thoughts. My feelings also meaning like my body sensations. I didn't realize that in this conversation with her earlier, actually. This is something I'm only realizing right now. It's like when it stays in our heads, when we don't express the thing, all of those things that we're thinking and ruminating on and anxious about and obsessing about, we can't get past that point, maybe because we are having these physical body sensation responses that are creating those feelings around it. And then we get stuck in that feeling because of the actual like tense, heavy, tight, whatever feelings that those thoughts are eliciting in us. We're getting stuck in the feeling because we're keeping it in our body and we can't fully process it. And when we actually externalize it, either by talking or by writing and journaling, if that's like your thing, or by painting or drawing, if like you create art, and like express your thoughts that way, but getting it out of your body so that it can be in front of you and seen feels like it makes so much sense why we feel better, because when we think it out loud, we're not holding it in our bodies, so it doesn't feel as heavy. Like when we're getting that energy out of us by expressing it externally, that energy is leaving, like exiting our body quite literally, and it lessens the intensity of the feeling of stuckness, of anxiety, of pain, of despair, of loneliness, of depression, of whatever, just because we are physically creating that energy into the world instead of holding it within our bodies. And maybe that is why we're suddenly able to see it differently. And that's partly why it makes us feel better. And that's why we have those light bulb insights once we do. Like, I am such a verbal processor. So for me, anyway, like, that really makes a difference. But I guess if you aren't a verbal processor, you could write, right? Or type, whatever. But you can't keep it in your body and get past the prison of your physiological bodily reactions to those thoughts. And then those feelings make us more anxious. We brought up anxious feelings, and then like now we're thinking about how we're feeling anxious about it. And when we say it out loud or get it out, we don't have the same physical sensation, or like we move through it, I guess. I guess we're moving it through our bodies and externalizing it. But, anyway, where was my thread? Okay, we were talking about podcasts, and she was like, well, why don't you just record, do what you're saying, record when you have the insight and just do it for yourself, and then just post that and like make that the podcast. And I was like, that's a fucking brilliant idea. Even if no one ends up listening to it, like it won't take any effort. I don't need to go on this like, oh, I'm going to figure this thing out and get like share it everywhere and get these followers and blah, blah, blah. I could just put it out there because I'm going to say it out loud anyway to process it. And then it's easy. I just go post, whatever without like whenever I do them. And it just doesn't have to be consistent. It doesn't have to have this weekly certain day. It can just be, I had an insight and now I'm just posting it directly. And I was like, I might try this. Like, and that's fucking manifestation, right? Like maybe that's the next step. Like I talked it out with someone and ended up finding my way to a path that felt easy and like not effortful, Because the second it's effortful, I see all the effort in my head before I've even taken one step. And then I'm like, oh, there's too much to do with that. I don't want to. Like, it gives me those physiological body sensations of like panic and anxiety, just because of the organizational and like administrative aspects. So what if I just talked out loud when I had an insight and posted it and stopped trying, like, if no one listens to it, fine. And more, maybe that's what I meant to do, and it will work out and people will be drawn to it because I know I'm good at explaining this kind of stuff in a way that's easy to understand, and the people who need my voice to understand it will find me. Because I, do craft shows, weekend-long shows for years now, and when I talk about my jewelry and the meaning behind it and how I understand it that way and why I think it's true and my backing as a life coach and how people relate so gutturally to what I'm saying and how people leave my booth saying they feel like they've just had like 10 years of therapy in one session, like they're healed now. I'm like, no, girl, you got to go like do therapy and work on the things because the insight doesn't help if you don't actually go act on it, right? Like go implement the thing. And then that's what I create my jewelry around, is that it helps you remember to do the thing. So like I incorporate all of these insights that I have into different designs and collections that remind you to practice the insight, really, like to take action around it so that you can make those changes. So it's like if you're inspired to buy a piece of my jewelry is an example of that next step of if I just do this one simple thing, it takes me to the next step. It takes me to the next level, the next rung on the ladder towards what I actually want. And the first step is get the thing, and then the next step is wear it, and like keep the card that it comes with the meaning in your bag, in your wallet if you want. And like when you notice it, read the card, and then do the thing. Like do the thing that feels easy and feels supportive and doesn't feel like it's swimming upstream. Like paddling a lifeboat to not fall down the waterfall instead of like going down the waterfall and getting to the other side. Maybe it's like not, maybe they're like little waterfalls and it's not that scary. And the next place is beautiful. Like, I think maybe that's how you step forward in life and that's how you manifest the things you want. And then that being said, I later this evening, that when I was still kind of simmering in this thought, was also like, I could, if podcasts are something that needs to be done on a regular schedule, or I don't know, I feel like everybody has a podcast. I could also do it alternatively as on YouTube, but like just do my speaking to a calming background. Like it doesn't actually have to be me speaking into a camera where then I feel awkward because I'm talking to no one. I can do that when I'm not being videoed, but it feels so fucking weird and awkward doing it into a camera that, like, if I was having a conversation with someone and being videoed, that'd be fine. But, like, just me alone talking to a camera feels fucking weird as fuck. So I could make videos that are just like, and I could have AI animate something, or I could just put like, some calming ocean vibes. I don't know, whatever, into the background of it. And that actually could also work. And, then I could have a whole thing for that. So anyway, I felt really inspired, and it feels like an easy thing to do that maybe I should just do.